Good morning. We're going to get started this morning with an invocation from Pastor Chris Dotson of Chapel Hill United Methodist Church, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Quinn Boone, representing Girl Scouts Troop 6429. Please stand if you are able.
Let's pray. God, we come to you on this Thanksgiving week, first of all, just lifting up thanks and praise. Thanks for the gift of today. Thank you for our city leaders, our city employees, and the citizens of this great city. God, we ask that you now bless this meeting. Help us to catch your vision for Oklahoma City and what we can do together. And so we just come to you again lifting thanks and praise in your son's name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, thank you, Pastor Dotson, and thank you, Quinn. And I call this regular meeting of the City Council to order. And we do have a couple of presentations, so I will make my way to the front. So perhaps all of our friends for Small Business Saturday could come up. We'll start there. Seems like every year we have a great group representing our city's small business owners, anxious for the Small Business Saturday that looms ahead. So let's hear a little bit more about that, and I would ask the clerk to read this proclamation.
Whereas the City of Oklahoma City celebrates our local small businesses and the contributions they make to our local economy and community. And whereas small and micro businesses are key contributors to our city's growth, employing approximately 2/3 of our workforce, collectively and consistently boosting our economy and sales tax revenue. And whereas small businesses also increase tourism opportunities and give back to our community by donating to local nonprofits. And whereas throughout the years, independent retailers and restaurants have played an essential role in the revitalization of our neighborhoods and commercial districts. And whereas these retailers add value and character to our community, even when faced with hardships. And whereas Oklahoma City customers who shop on Small Business Saturday agree that shopping at small, independently owned businesses supports their commitment to making purchases that have a positive social and economic impact and are essential to their community. And whereas the City of Oklahoma City supports our local businesses that create jobs, boost our local economy, and preserve our communities. And whereas the Saturday after Thanksgiving has been identified as Small Business Saturday by advocacy groups and public and private organizations across the country. Now, therefore, I, David Holt, Mayor of the City of Oklahoma City, do hereby proclaim November 25th, 2023 to be Small Business Saturday in Oklahoma City and encourage residents to support small businesses and merchants on this day and throughout the year.
Thank you. And we have, these are mostly board members, perhaps all board members for the, give me the Independent Shopkeepers Association. And we have the board chair, John Milner, here, who is going to say a few words on behalf of the organization.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing us to be here and promote independent shopkeepers and Small Business Saturday. All across Oklahoma, shopkeepers are gearing up for the holiday season. I want to encourage each of us to promote and support our beloved local shops and independent shopkeepers, not just in Oklahoma City, but across the state. When we talk about investment and dollars that shopkeepers invest back in the community, it's more than just dollars. It's all of their time, it's their energy, it's their passion that they pour into their businesses that spills out into our main streets and in our communities and creates places that we love to be. Again, thank you, Mayor Holt and City Council members for the Small Business Saturday proclamation. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's hear it for our small business owners. Okay. Amy Parker, your time has arrived. right. We would like to learn a little bit more about city employee and employee of the month, Amy Parker. So I would ask the clerk to read this resolution.
Whereas Amy Parker has been a city employee for 9 years and is the Assistant Controller for the Accounting Services Division in the Finance Department. And whereas Amy Parker started with the city as a municipal accountant too, and has worked her way up to her current position while earning her CPA along the way. And whereas Amy Parker supervises 2 accounting managers and a financial information systems manager and oversees the maintenance and review of accounting records and preparation of financial reports for accuracy, completeness, and compliance with governmental accounting regulations. And whereas Amy Parker is respected by her staff because she leads by example and is encouraging, patient, caring, fair, and has a leadership style that makes everyone want to do their best. And whereas Amy Parker was recently appointed Chair of Women Inspiring Leadership and Learning Opportunities, Willow, and whereas Amy Parker always finds ways to lift employee morale, writing encouraging notes to people, dressing like the Grinch to hand out donuts at Christmas, buying Sonic drinks for her staff, and going out of her way to make sure each person feels included. And whereas Amy Parker has forged relationships with local universities to inspire graduating students to apply for jobs with the city, resulting in several new hires who would not have known about these opportunities without her effort. And whereas this council desires to recognize Amy Parker for her dedication, compassion, and commitment to the residents of the city of Oklahoma City. Now therefore be it resolved by the mayor and council of the city of Oklahoma City that they do hereby thank and commend Amy Parker, November 2023 South Oklahoma City Kiwanis Club Employee of the Month.
Thank you. And this is a resolution, which means we need to vote on it. So let's handle that housekeeping real fast. All right, we've got a motion and a second. Cast your votes. I wish to vote aye. Passes unanimously. Well, Amy, we are very grateful for your service, along with all the rest of our 5,000 city employees. And a good accountant never comes to a presentation unprepared. And I have already seen the written remarks that you are here to deliver. And so we would love to hear a few thoughts from Amy Parker. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, a recognition like this doesn't just happen. There are a lot of people in my life that have made this happen today. It's not just a testament to my self-achievement, but to all of the opportunities that have been afforded to me on my journey with the city of Oklahoma City. First, I want to thank my parents for the strong values that they instilled in me and the strong work ethic that has guided me throughout my career. To my husband, your unwavering support during the demanding audit season have been my pillar of strength. I've been fortunate to work for some great supervisors with my career here at the city, such as Roger Cole, Angela Pierce, Brent Bryant, but in particular, Alex Fedak, which I do have to say just a little bit about because he's put up a lot for the last 8 years, but even on my hardest days, he's been there with guidance, patience, and pointed me in the right direction and has guided me to where I am today. Without the knowledge and wisdom that Alex has generously shared over the years, I wouldn't have been able to succeed in all of the accomplishments that I've had. Alex, your mentorship has been invaluable, and I'm truly grateful for the impact you've had on my professional journey. And then to my existing staff, all of you that are sitting there supporting me today, you are the unsung heroes. You make me look good, and without your hard work and dedication, I wouldn't be standing here today. Once again, I want to thank the Kiwanis organization for this recognition and to everyone who played a role in shaping my journey here at the city of Oklahoma City. I am truly honored to be standing here and excited to continue contributing to the success of this amazing organization. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Amy. Let's hear it for Amy. All right. Okay, we also have one appointment, Chelsea Banks to serve on the Maps 4 Community Subcommittee as Vice Chair. We need a motion on that. We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. And then we have items, of course, we have 3 employees that work directly for the mayor and council. That's the city manager, the municipal councilor, and the city auditor. And once a year, we evaluate them and establish their new annual salary. So we have items C, D, and E to that effect. We do need to go into executive session. We generally have handled that at the end of the meeting along with other executive sessions, and I would see no reason to divert from that today, but we can go ahead and vote to go into executive session now, and we'll need to do it 3 separate times. So first would be, so item C2, entering into executive session to discuss the city manager. We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Now item D2, executive session for the city auditor. We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. And finally, E2, executive session to discuss the municipal councilor. We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. We will handle those executive sessions as well as potential votes on C1, D1, and E1 at the conclusion of our other business. That concludes Office of the Mayor. We have no items from council today, so we're at item 5, City Manager reports.
Thank you, Mayor. There are several reports that are on today. One is the claims and payroll report, and that report can be found on okc.gov. It's a standard report that we have, but there's others that are here that are fairly significant. We don't have formal presentations on any of them, but the investment report is on here, and if you look at the investment report, you'll see that we are seeing our investments increase, that just with the market changes, so it wasn't that long ago. It's 3% roughly overall, but it wasn't that long ago we were fortunate to get a 0.5% growth in our investments, and so benefiting from that. But I really do appreciate the work of our city treasurer's office, led by Matt Boggs and his team, and the way that they diligently manage our funds to make sure that we're earning what we can, but making sure they're protecting the funds and that we're making sure they're available when they're needed. So that report is in. We'd be glad to take questions on that or be able to provide a response. There's interim financial report is also on, and this is just a quick look at the budget. We talk a lot about sales tax every month and where we are with sales and use tax. This report actually does a comparison for multiple funds, but focuses on the general fund at the beginning of it, and you'll see that expenditures are slightly above revenues right now. I mean, they're almost even, but they're slightly above. It's not unusual for this time of the year. There's several transfers that we have that go out to various funds. We make those early in the year. Revenues are slightly below target, even though sales and use tax are above target. They're slightly below target, but not anything of concern at this point. But it's pretty similar to what we would expect this early in the year, with expenditures slightly exceeding revenues. So still a good report, and I feel like we're in a good position there. And then the hotel motel tax report is on for the first quarter of this fiscal year, and hotel tax collections are slightly above target. Continuing good news of what we're seeing still with sales and use tax. The growth is slower than what it's been, but still doing well. It's about 2% growth overall, and so I'm doing well with hotel motel tax, and that's all that I have.
All right. Well, that brings us to item 6, Journal of Council Proceedings. We have items A and B we can take with one motion. I have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Item 7 is request for uncontested continuances. Item 11J is already listed on the agenda as being struck. Is there anything else, Mr. City Manager?
Yes, we have several. Starting on page 10, item 11L1, and all of these items, we will strike all these items from the agenda, beginning with item A, 1124 Southeastern Avenue, the owner is secured. Item C, 5901 West Hefner Road, the owner is secured. Item I, 435 Northwest 20th Street, the owner is secured. And item K, 2208 Northwest 28th Street, the owner is secured. Continuing on page 10 on abandoned buildings, item 11M1. These items are the exact same items for the same reasons that were on previously, but it's item A. 1124, we'll strike all these items. 1124 Southeastern Avenue. Item C, 5901 West Hefner Road. Item I, 435 Northwest 20th Street. Item L, 2208 Northwest 28th Street. And that's all the items that I have.
All right. Item 8, revocable permits and events. We have item 8A, amended limited revocable rowing and paddle practice use permit with the River Sport Foundation for use to the Western Avenue Basin of the Oklahoma River. No one has signed up to speak. Councilwoman Hammond.
I will move for approval.
We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. We'll now recess the council meeting and convene as the Oklahoma City Municipal Facilities Authority, where we have items A and B we can take with one motion. We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. We'll adjourn OCMFA and convene as the Oklahoma City Public Property Authority, where we have items A through D we can take with one motion. A motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. We'll adjourn OCPPA and reconvene as the council. We're now on page 3 of your printed agenda. Item 9, the consent docket. There is a scheduled presentation for item AJ. Is there anything else that a council member wishes to pull out for a separate vote, discussion, question, comment?
Yes, for me, item Q.
Okay. All right, if that's it, we'll start there. Councilwoman Nice, item Q.
Thank you. I just wanted to make mention of this resolution accepting $7,500 in Oklahoma Humanities for United We Stand grant, and this is to acknowledge Oklahoma City's forgotten Black communities where safe spaces, equity, culture, and creativity lived. And this project will be coming soon, and this will sponsor oral history interviews of surviving community members and descendants. So I just wanted to make mention of this because I think this is very important for our community, and it's going to highlight the history of several predominantly Black communities that were established pre-statehood throughout what we know now as Oklahoma City Metro, and those areas include Sandtown to Westtown. And I personally know, I have family, my father's paternal side was raised in Sandtown. And if you are familiar with where the River Sport, that boathouse area is, was once known as these places where our communities resided. In Orchard Park, as we talk about the current location of the Jesus House. So these are all of the communities that will be a part of this oral history. So I just wanted to say kudos for the folks who brought this together, and looking forward to us being able to honor this part of our Oklahoma City history.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. City Manager, item AJ.
Yes, Chris York, our budget director, will give us a presentation on this proposed budget amendment. It'll set the timing for coming back to adopt the resolution, but I'll let Chris give the update on the changes that are being requested.
Thank you, City Manager. So this is the introduction item for Budget Amendment Number 2 of fiscal year 2024. If it's approved next council meeting along with the public hearing, it would increase the budget by $8.56 million, getting us to $1.93 billion as an amended budget. It does impact a few funds, and I'll just walk you through those very quickly. First, in our general fund, we have an increase of just under $7.5 million. This is our annual transaction that we do based on a policy that council approved back in 2022. We do an assessment at the end of the close of the fiscal year and assess how much fund balance we have, and anything north of 22% we transfer over to our capital maintenance reserve. to be held there for future expenses that are unforeseen, but definitely going to happen, such as maintenance of our downtown building campuses and things of that nature. We're able to transfer over $7.5 million this year. This is the second time that this transaction has happened since council implemented this policy. We also have an increase related to tax increment district number 17. This is the convergence project, and this is an increase in our sales and use tax related to expenditures made within those boundaries, and it will be a pass-through for the city. So an increase of $720,000 will be made on the revenue and expense side, and then we will send those funds over to the Oklahoma City Redevelopment Authority for their future use. A relatively small increase to our internal service fund for Print Shop. Print Shop's been able to save up some capital funds over the last few years to replace one of their high-volume printers. They have the funds sitting there. They just need authority from you to go ahead and spend those and replace one of their printer systems. That increases for $50,000, and again, fund balance is the revenue source on that. And then finally, we have an increase to our special purpose fund, and this is for an expected donation from the Inasmuch Foundation to help us fund our Clutch Consulting contract. Clutch Consulting is helping the city with our strategies to fight homelessness. And so this increase of $296,500 is again a preparatory step. We have not received the funds or amended that contract just yet, but those items will be brought back to council. That's all the call outs I have for you this morning, but if you have any questions, happy to try to answer those.
Okay, well, if there's no questions, we can adopt the consent docket. We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. That brings us to item 10, the concurrence docket. We have items A through I we could take with one motion. I have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Okay, items requiring separate votes is where we have now arrived. Item 11. Item 11A is an ordinance on final hearing recommended for approval, rezoning 1021 North Gardner from R4 and C3 to C3. Councilwoman Peck.
Thank you, Mayor. Has anyone signed up to speak?
No.
Okay. Well, I'm going to assume that the applicant handled the protest from the Planning Commission, then it was recommended for approval. So I will move for approval now. Thank you.
We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Item 11B is an ordinance on final hearing recommended for approval, rezoning 6602 South Anderson from AA and AE2 to PUD 1966 and AE2. Councilman Stone, no one is signed to speak.
Thank you, Mayor. This is basically a boat and RV storage out at 40th and Anderson, I believe. Recommended for our approval, so I'll motion for its approval with the associated TE.
I have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Item 11C is an ordinance on final hearing recommended for approval, rezoning 12518 North Penn from PUD 712 and C3 to PUD 1968. Councilwoman Nice, no one is signed up to speak.
Yes, Mr. Box? I just want to ensure, and I have not seen, and maybe that's my fault, I have not seen that, the master design statement that ensures that we have 4-story and 5 with the 4s in the front.
So we need to amend it because that change happened after Planning Commission.
Okay.
We need to amend it from the floor to require that the 4-story units will be to the west and the 5-story units to be to the east. And then we will revise that master design statement and get it over to staff probably as soon as I walk back to the office.
Thank you. Okay. And I think that was, I'm trying to make sure that was the main concern. I know we had some others we were working through. And I know and hope that we will still stay in contact with some of those local folks and that doesn't end today. so we can continue to work on how we can get local contracting and the things that we can to make this beneficial for this development. Thank you. All right, so I would like to amend this application, as we heard from Mr. Box, to include, for the record, 4 stories to the west, 5 stories to the east in this development.
Okay, so wait, so we have a motion for an amendment, is that what you said? Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Item is amended.
Okay, thank you. Now I'd like to move the application as amended.
A motion and a second to adopt the ordinance as amended. Cast your votes.
Thank you.
Passes unanimously. All right, item 11D is an ordinance on final hearing recommended for approval, rezoning 5605 South Hare Road from C1 and AA to SPUD 1558. Councilman Stone, no one is signed up to speak.
Thank you, Mayor. This is actually a pretty nice project. It's a youth sports facility that I'm excited about. So with that, I will move for its approval.
We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Item 11E is an ordinance on final hearing recommended for approval, establishing a special permit to operate use unit 8300.18 automotive and equipment dealerships and malls in the C3 commercial district found at 1215 West Britton Road. This was deferred from November 7th. Councilwoman Nice, no one is signed up to speak.
Thank you. I'd like for Mr. Box to explain why it was deferred from November 7th.
So prior to that meeting, we received an email from an attorney to lodging a protest. We since met with the attorney representing the particular protester, walked through the application, walked through the changes that were requested by the Planning Commission. Once we showed them that we will be meeting all of the requirements that exist in the code for this use unit, and in addition, had already made those changes requested by Planning Commission that included removing an access point, adding some landscaping, and moving a fence that was currently encroaching the alley, they then withdrew their protest.
Okay. And I do want to mention I did receive that email that you sent from, I guess, the client that withdrew. So I'm reading that now. All right, so I will go ahead and ask that we move for approval of this special permit application.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Cast your votes.
Thank you.
Passes unanimously. Okay, item 11F1 is an ordinance on final hearing recommended for approval to close the west 7 feet of the east 15-foot north-south utility easement in Lot 15, Block 6 of Highland Point Phase 1 at 2502 Northwest 129th Street. This has been deferred many times, and I understand that staff does request an executive session. And in contrast to previous items and future items on this agenda, we're kind of in a planning mindset. I would recommend that we go ahead and do this executive session now and stay on task. So we would need a vote to go into executive session, the one found at 11F2. Got a motion and a second. Cast your votes to go into executive session. Passes unanimously. We will return. All right, we have returned from executive session on item 11F1, and Councilwoman Nice, do you wish to make a motion?
Yes, after careful consideration and deliberation, I will ask that we deny this application, and we'll look forward to further steps from there.
All right, the motion is to deny the ordinance proposed at F1. We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. If you vote in favor, you are voting in favor of denial. Passes unanimously. Okay, we're now at 11G. This is a public hearing regarding the Uptown 23rd Business Improvement District. Amy, has anyone signed up to speak? They have. We have Teresa Tran. Teresa, if you wouldn't mind stating your name and address, and keep your remarks to 3 minutes or less.
Address 2122 Northwest 23, but we have the uptown at 465 and 447 Northwest 23. And And today I called here because I want to talk to council and city manager. I think the BID program are very scary to me because I pay the BID for 5 years since 2019 to now, but to improve the uptown. But they did not do anything to improve it. And Northwest 23rd until now too. The name of the 23rd Street uptown are very important. It's a good name for advertise, but they did not do anything for 5 years. The city came to my store and asked me, city BID 1, to do volunteer for me to clean up my business. I don't have money to pay anything about that. That is a volunteer job. So after that, I can open the store for rent or whatever. I told them I don't have money to pay for them, but the problem is the roof leaking. I need to help me for the roof because I don't have money to fix it. If you help me clean up or anything, I still cannot open because the roof cannot fix it. The city said I need to clean up first, then do the roof later. City asked me, do I believe their roof, city roof? I said yes, because the roof, city are big. So I believe that. City tell me may help me do everything in here. Maybe take 6 months or free rent or 1 year free rent, anything. I say, okay.
30 seconds remaining.
They may go up 2-3 floors. I think I'm very happy about that. And I say thank you about that. And I am ready to do like that. And I think city can rent or help me anything to do anything. I'm so happy about that.
So Ms. Tran, so we have a copy of the letter I believe you're reading, correct?
Huh?
Is this the letter, is that what you're reading?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so it's several pages long and we're already at 3 minutes.
Yeah.
This sounds like, and obviously if I understand basically the summary is you have a conflict with the Business Improvement District and the services it's provided. I'm sure we can connect with staff here.
Donna Cervantes is here and can speak with her.
Yeah, that's probably going to be the most efficient way to resolve these concerns. And I think that probably has to happen not in here. But we've got the copy of your letter, but really who you probably need to talk to is Donna. Do you agree? Okay.
Yes.
You got the copy, everything you understand about that?
You got a copy. Yeah, pass that down. I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
I am her husband.
Yes.
And besides, we want the BID to be discontinued because it's a scam. We also want city allow us to collect fee for the parking on the Walker and Kentucky Street all around my business because that damaged my business. They park there 24 hours a day and we don't have customers to come in. That is very damage to our business for many years. And we want us, the only way we can, city doesn't do any cleanup or even we have a parking, we had a parking 1 hour, it never enforce it. And we cannot enforce it. Only city can do it. And city didn't do it. So I think that we can collect money, then we pay for the cleanup, and we can limit the time people parking there. They park whole day, whole night, the town is open, all people parking. Whole day people park there. They are owner business or, excuse me, or they are either owner business or owner employee. They park there whole day business time, and at night town is open.
Okay.
So we damage. We cannot fix it. We cannot do business.
You oppose the bid. Fair statement.
So
got it. Okay. Kendall. Okay. Thank
so
you.
That and another one is the outlet behind our store. The outlet behind our business. They also like big track there, and even they go there to sleep. We need to take it back.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I
So,
feel
so what I suggest is, you may want to wait for this discussion and vote, but after that, Donna, do you see Donna? Yes. Donna would love to meet with you, and it sounds like there's probably a further discussion that needs to occur to kind of work through some of those issues.
Well,
Thank you.
And Councilman Cooper.
I will also say, and thanks for being here, I appreciate you both. I have already met, we've met. I want everyone on this horseshoe to know there has been a conversation.
Okay.
I've read this letter. I believe Donna and I sat for, 2 hours here at council. And yes, this conversation needs to continue, but let me just say a couple things publicly that I think are important. Three things that are important. What I did as the council person. One is, and I just want council to know this, and I want the public to know it, so everyone knows what's going on here. So yes, there's opposition to the bid from a property owner, and we just heard from them. So as a response, I worked with Donna we're gonna have like an itemized, like here's what the bid does for residents, for property owners in Uptown 23rd, like an itemized list, right? Because as you just heard Ms. Tran say, they were unaware of some of the benefits the bid provides. So we wanted those itemized. One of the concerns also about that was security, right? Making sure that there's safety and security that the bid provides. So that's one thing. That's how I responded to that. Number two, though, was a concern about how long it has taken for 2017's Better Street, Safer Cities placemaking project to begin on 23rd Street. And some confusion from the Tran family in terms of whether that was the bid or the bond. So I literally walked them through exactly that difference and let them know about those updates that are coming. And explain, Paseo is having one right now, a placemaking project. 39th Street is done. The third thing, though, and I need to really emphasize this in public because this was some confusion. About a week ago, there were suddenly private parking signs on 23rd Street alongside their business. And what Donna and I tried to explain is that as a public street, And I just can't emphasize that enough. And they want to do private parking on 23rd, or sorry, on Walker. And that is a point of contention. And we tried, Donna and I, to explain about the private parking behind their building on their property, that is in fact where they could, do parking, that one would, do what they'd like in terms of paying and these sorts of things. But there is a misunderstanding in regards to Walker Avenue. It is a public street. It is a public street. It is a public street. And let me also just, to drive home this point, I have residents in Ward 2 who right now are worried about if we start allowing accessory dwelling units in people's backyards, that will lead to increased traffic on their streets. I have news for them too. Those are public streets, and we will work to try and mitigate that, but these are public streets, which means they're for the public. I don't know what else to say on that. I'm sorry there's a disagreement, but those were the 3 points of contention, and I wanted council to know about those. I don't know if Donna would like to add anything else. I please continue talking with our city staff. I think your property is, I'm glad you're there. I want you to be there. I'm sad that there's this disagreement, but I just wanted everyone to know that is the update I have on this disagreement. And it was a 2-hour conversation where I actually want to thank Donna for staying from 5 to 6 p.m. after staff. And then I walked Donna to the parking garage at night in the dark to make sure she got home safely. And I thank her for her time that day. So I hope everything can work out, but I just don't want this council to think that, I'm not doing anything and I'm not aware of what's going on here, so.
We had no such suspicion. Thank you, Councilman Cooper. Okay, Kendall Bleakley, do you also wish to speak?
Hi, my name is Kendall. I am the district manager for Uptown 23rd, and I am just available for any questions that anyone may have.
Would you just briefly, because we had this same debate, disagreement where another property owner didn't like the bid on Western Avenue District. Just briefly, walk us through, because maybe some people in the public who are unaware of bids, maybe don't watch city council meetings, but just briefly, what services do you all provide? And I'm especially interested in the street cleaning and the security, if you could just give us that.
Yeah, so we basically pay for the maintenance on the median on 23rd Street, as well as street cleaning, nightly security, and marketing and other events in the district. So right now, our budget, we spend about 40% in maintenance and security alone, and that goes towards monthly street cleaning, monthly median cleaning. We also did median improvements this year, so we planted new hardy vegetation that was going to survive, and we also worked with Echelon because we are aware that there is a streetscape to hopefully remove the median next year. And we want to be able to move and replant those plants, so we didn't just, spend money on something that's just going to get torn up. And so that was really important to us. We're also in the process of looking into our security and seeing what other options are available, but security is very expensive. Some quotes we got back are 11 grand a month, and that's just not available to our bid. We don't have the budget for things like that, but we're looking to see if there's lighting improvements, what kind of things we can talk about. We even, in our last board meeting, we spoke about possible ways for security cameras or any kind of monitoring that we can do. And that's those are some things that the bid budget goes towards. We just put on Uptown Outside in September. That brought a whole bunch of people to the community, and our businesses saw increased profits throughout the night. One business reported a 200% increase compared to a regular Saturday night, and that was just one business in the district, a very small business, and plenty of businesses saw the same. So.
Thanks for that update. I think there's two things in city manager. I think this is a lot of it's going to be in your court, as it were. I'm really interested in how downtown's bid. Like, when I was in San Francisco back in '09, and I remember walking Market Street, I was talking to Councilwoman Hammond about this a few weeks ago, seeing those literal street cleaners cleaning the street. As Uptown continues to grow and so many people are there on a Friday or Saturday night, I just think that's something we're gonna have to really figure out. How do we work with Uptown? As I'm guessing that's expensive. I'm guessing that's not a cheap thing, but I think that's where it's heading. I really do. It's the need, the demand is going to drive that sort of need for street cleaning at that level. So I'm just putting that out there. That's what I see as a resident and as the council person. And I understand cost, but I'm just.
Yeah, but that street cleaning that's done downtown is through the bid.
Sure.
It's funded through the
So,
bid.
yeah, the street cleaning is funded through the bid. So I just want to say that again, but I'm just saying, like, you just heard there are limitations on this particular bid in terms of being able to fund that. So just wanted that out there. The second thing, and this was a concern I heard from the Tran family, is this, in terms of security, there continues to be like graffiti, which, by the way, graffiti art, I'm someone who's like, bring the person who's doing the graffiti into the public art program, figure that out. We see success when that happens. But that was a lot of the security concern, is that where their building is, there's this constant, things done to their property in terms of security. I don't know what we can do about that, but that is the concern I heard in terms of security. So hopefully the service that you're looking into is, will figure out what can they do to help shine a bright light on properties so that, crime and these sorts of things don't happen.
Right now, our security does 2 sweeps every single night, which I know for other bid, for another bid, I know that they only do weekends. Ours is every single night. But I mean, it's impossible to stop every single person because we can't afford for them to sit and watch a building the entire evening.
Sure. Just that's wanted to say all those things in public, and then the other thing is just make sure, please, that we are updating the members of the bid as we move forward about these changes, especially as it relates to
We have
security.
a great stakeholders website where it has its password protected, but we've given the password to to all the stakeholders so that they can check, and we actually put all of the bid reports on there that shows the quarterly breakdown of the spending and an explanation of how we spent it, as well as invites to our merchant meetups and any other important information that a stakeholder in the district would need to know.
Is any of it possibly available in other languages? If people who are property owners might struggle with that, that might be something to consider.
Okay.
Yeah, I know, but keep in mind 23rd Street and the Asian District are right there. So that would be my only consideration.
I'll talk to Chelsea about translation-wise.
Thank you so much. And thanks for your patience, Council and City Manager.
Thank you. All right, that concludes those who've signed up to speak under the public hearing found at 11G1. That brings us to the resolution found at G2, adopting and confirming an assessment roll for year 2023-2024 for the Uptown 23rd Business Improvement District.
Oh, yeah, I'm a yes, and also thank you for the work you all do in the district.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. And on a related item, 11H is an ordinance on final hearing, adopting and setting the assessment roll for year 2023-2024 for the Uptown 23rd Business Improvement District. We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. All right, now we're at item 11I. This is an ordinance on final hearing relating to motor vehicles and traffic, specifically persons authorized to direct traffic. This is the third of 3 meetings on this proposed ordinance change. There was a presentation 2 meetings ago. Today, the council could adopt if it so desires. We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Item J was previously struck, which brings us to item K, K1 is the public hearing regarding the dilapidated structures here listed. Amy, has anyone signed up to speak?
No, they haven't.
They have not. so
Mayor,
we-
I would like for us to defer item A. I would like to get more information on that.
Okay. 2 weeks? All right, we'll take a motion to defer item 11K1A for 2 weeks. We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Item is deferred. No one has signed up to speak under the public hearing, so we will advance to the resolution now found at K2, declaring that the structures are dilapidated, except for the one previously deferred. We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. 11L1 is the public hearing regarding the unsecured structures here listed, except for those previously struck. Amy, has anyone signed up to speak?
No, they haven't.
So we will advance to the resolution found at L2, declaring that the structures are unsecured. We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. What are we waiting on? There we go. Passes unanimously. Okay, 11M1 is the public hearing regarding the abandoned buildings here listed, except for those previously struck. Amy, has anyone signed up to speak?
No, they haven't.
Mayor, we
Yes.
will need item H is the same
Same
item.
thing. Okay. So we'll take a
Deferred 2
motion
weeks.
to defer item 11M1H for 2 weeks. We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. We'll close the public hearing as no one signed up to speak, and we'll advance to the resolution found at M2 declaring that the buildings are abandoned, except for the one deferred and those struck. We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Item N is a resolution declaring certain property in the vicinity of 1131 Northwest 5th between 5th Klein and Linwood to be surplus. This is the third of 3 meetings as per previously adopted resolution for the disposition of real estate. There is no presentation. Council could adopt the resolution today if it so desires.
I do just have a question, sort of
Sure.
on the technical side of this, because I feel like we did another one of these fairly recently. How is the price of the land determined in these cases when the city is declaring a surplus?
Typically, what we'll do is do an appraisal on the property, just have a separate appraisal.
Okay, I figured it was probably fairly
Yeah.
normal to other processes, but I just wanted to kind of ask how that works. Okay, thank you.
All right, we have a motion and a second on item N. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Item 11O is to enter into executive session on advice of the municipal counselor to receive confidential communications concerning the case of Anthony v. City of OKC. We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. We'll handle that executive session at the conclusion of other business. And item 11P, enter into executive session on advice of the municipal counselor to receive confidential communications regarding settlement in the case of City of OKC v. Bowers et al. We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. We'll handle that, passes unanimously. We'll handle that at the conclusion of other business. Item Q1, our claims recommended for approval. Executive session is not requested by staff. We could take the claims with one motion, and we have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. All right, comments from council. Ward 1.
Just want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving and a very safe weekend. Thank you.
Thank you. Ward 2.
Yes, thanks, Mayor. I just wanted to remind everyone about this rapid that's coming soon, and invite everyone specifically to join us on Monday, December 4th at 10 a.m. for the ribbon cutting. So this is, or actually it's the grand opening. So this is a moment, thank you, Councilman. This is a moment on Monday, December 4th at 10 a.m., essentially Northwest 18th and Classen Boulevard, adjacent to Homeland, where we'll see this launch take place. So just wanted to make sure that everyone had an opportunity to be there for that moment with our city. I'm just very excited about it. I'm not even going to go into all of the reasons why you've heard me before, but I will say parking will be available on Northwest 19th between Northwestern and Ollie Avenue, and I'll look forward to seeing everyone there. Also wanted to thank Ward 5's Matt Hinkle for, I just keep dropping my coat over here, for a tour of Ward 5. It was great. Casino Domino for lunch. There was a little Chucky doll that they had put up on the balcony. Sorry about that, Matt. They must have known I was coming. But it was just really nice to hear, Councilman Hinkle is new to this particular seat, though he's definitely served in the capacity as a planning commissioner. But it was really nice to hear his work and thoughts when it comes to mental health and homelessness, economic development, as we think about, well, how do we take, old ways of thinking and old strip malls and make sure they're meeting the needs of the residents in present day. And I heard a word I was just so excited to hear that he just repeated over and over and over again: sidewalks. And he showed me places where there's just a lack of connectivity from neighborhoods just barely down the road from, for instance, Crest Foods, right? Residents should be able to walk from their neighborhood to Crest. And so it was just really nice to get a better understanding of Ward 5 and its needs. It's a place that means a lot to me as, my former employment as a Jefferson Middle School teacher. So just thanks, Matt, for your tour. And happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Thank you. Ward 3.
Just happy Thanksgiving, everybody, and God bless.
Thank you. Ward 4. Ward 5. Ward 6. Ward 7.
Thank you. First, I wanted to say thank you to all of the folks who had a hand, especially our arts department, for the Captain Pitts mural. And if you have not seen it, it is absolutely stunning. And I do want to give a special appreciation to the late Miss Robbie Kenzel, because had it not been for her, we would not have been able to seek the funding to even get the process started. And I hate that she is not here physically to see it, but I know she has been with us through this process to get us through to ensure that it was done. So very grateful for her, and also for Mr. Randy for carrying that torch to ensure that we got it done. But it is absolutely stunning, and very grateful for Mrs. Pitts and her family that were there at the day that it was unveiled. So again, this is part of our Oklahoma's history as we continue to talk through that and about it. And I wanted to also say, as we talked about Small Business Saturday for this coming Saturday, that we are very intentional about supporting our minority businesses that are also within our community and within our city. Unfortunately, I didn't see the representation of that today, but I do know and believe that we as community can be very intentional about how we support and show up for those minority and diverse businesses that are within our city. I also wanted to say I have some grave concerns about what's going on in a couple of my
my facilities that are operated by the Oklahoma City Housing Authority. And as you all know, I'm never silent about how I feel about my residents and the treatment or lack thereof for my residents. And I have a senior that is in JELTS right now that I'm having concerns about pertaining to her living conditions. And the problem, of course, is one, I can't authorize anything to happen as far as even, it's not under the purview of our city, but it is a problem when you have seniors or any other residents that feel that they are not being listened to or heard, and their living conditions are not one that we would say is adequate. If we wouldn't live in those conditions, why should some of our residents be forced to live in these same conditions? So I am not done with that conversation, and I'm hoping that my senior, and I will be continuing to check in on that senior, but ensuring that she gets the proper care and support that she needs, even if that means her being moved to somewhere that can give her some better care. That needs to happen. I wanted to give a nice shout out to 28 Supreme, and they are, including myself, the newest members of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and also to Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Beta Sigma Omega chapter. There's a very special person that works within this building that is a part of that chapter from this weekend. And I wanted to give a special happy birthday to my mom. She's a turkey baby this year. Her birthday falls on Thanksgiving. So it's always fun to celebrate birthday and turkey on the same day. So happy birthday, Mama.
Thank you, Ward 8.
Yeah, on the weekends, I like to read articles on local news about Oklahoma City and from various sources. And I came across this article. It's entitled "School Resource Officer Replaces Student's Stolen Bike." And so I want to give a big shout out and thank you to Master Sergeant Dana Lee of the Oklahoma City Police Department. He's a school resource officer at Northwest Classen High School. A student approached him about their bike being stolen. That student was a refugee from Afghanistan, and the bike was her only form of transportation. Master Sergeant Dana Lee was able to obtain a new bike for the student, and as a result, Quail Creek Bank and Channel 4 awarded him with $500, which he gave to the Police Athletic League, which I thought was very commendable. So congratulations, Dana Lee. We appreciate your generosity and your compassion. And I'd also like to say, I hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so that concludes comments from council, which brings us to citizens to be heard. And we have, we'll start with Victoria Kemp.
Good morning, council.
Good morning.
I am here today with a big ask. I would like to talk about the Relax Inn on Northeast 23rd and also the convenience store that is right next door. I have some pictures, if I'm allowed. I just pass them up.
Sure.
I have I happen to own the house that is just behind both of these buildings. On the first picture, as you can see, the fence has been burned. It's cold, and there will be another fire soon because people will be trying to be kept warm. The person who owns this is actually adjacent to the Relax Inn. It has not been repaired in years. Picture number 4 is a picture of my window. I came in to find this bullet hole about a month ago. Picture number 5 is what is just on the other side of that window. Had I been sitting at my desk, that window would have almost, that bullet, would have almost certainly went right through my head. That bullet went through my dining room wall, through my refrigerator, and is right now lodged in a shelf inside my refrigerator. I did not bring pictures of this because it is too grotesque, but the trash that comes from those businesses into my backyard, in order to pick that up, I have to navigate through piles of human feces. Just a few months ago, I passed 23rd Street on my way to my property, and because the fence at that time was down, I could see into my backyard. I drove around to the back of my house when I reached my property to find a woman performing oral sex on a man and another man waiting his turn with my 92-year-old mother and 8-year-old niece in the car, that I then had to explain what that act was to her.
30 seconds remaining.
These businesses have been a public nuisance in our community for years. The Relax Inn, I believe, has been owned by the same person for a long time. The convenience store has changed hands several times, but every time it is this kind of business. So I come to City Council today to ask that these two businesses be declared a public nuisance. I attempted to pull the records as to how many times the police come to these businesses. They did not arrive to me in time. Obviously, it is 2 days before Thanksgiving. I am happy to come back with the strength of my community behind me.
First, I want to say thank you for being here, and I also want you to know that this is something that I've continuously been working on, and I have also asked for that. And I would also request, as we have worked on Plaza Inn, this is the same type of nuisance that is happening within this part of our community. And I am sick and tired of seeing the things that I see as I pass by there every chance that I travel down Northeast 23rd Street. So I can't even imagine as neighbors what the experience is, as you just heard, how grotesque the things that are happening within this community. And folks turn a blind eye to it. But I will say, again, I know the chief is here, and I would ask that he would get with you as well to ensure that we're working on this particular part of our community. But this is one of at least 3 that I am intentionally working on right now as far as our communities are concerned. So I do appreciate you being here, and we'll continue to stay in contact with you as we work through this process.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Victoria.
Sure.
Julie Diallo.
Hello, my name is Julie Diaolu, and I live in Ward 7. I'm at 3030 Northeast 30th Street. My issue is water rights. I moved from Maryland, bought my house in October, but didn't actually get to move in until the week before Christmas of last year. And I was not aware that there was a much bigger problem with water on our block until I came home I went back to Maryland, my husband and I, for a wedding in January, and when we came back, we had no water. And we were without water for almost 3 weeks through a series of unfortunate events, and discovered, like I said, that there is water mains on Bryant between 29th and 30th Street, and everyone on that block has their water, if they're on city water, running through that, the middle of the block. There is a church on Bryant Street that takes up the entire space between 29th and 30th, and I sympathize with him that, he would like to build maybe build onto his church or build a parking lot or things like that, he can't while the water's there. But I wanted city water. I know that one of my other neighbors, before I got there, that they had gotten frustrated. Our water pipes are galvanized steel, probably put in the 50s, and they're leaking. And they're leaking into the churchyard. It's a bad situation for everybody there. I did try to look for alternatives. Contacted the city water, the city planners first, the city engineers, sorry, for the water first, and got names of people that I could talk to about rerouting the water. Matthews Trenching is the one I ended up working with, and they quoted to move my water from where it's at now to the end of 30th Street and down my house.
30 seconds remaining.
Sorry, $39,950. I just bought a house. I don't have that. Then I looked at the possibility of a well, which I really don't want. I grew up in the country. I know the amount of maintenance that a well requires, having water softener, and if the electricity's out, you got no water. And we know that there's weather events in Oklahoma all the time that shut the power off. But the cost of materials post-COVID have skyrocketed, and even digging a well would be almost $15,000. I don't know that you can do anything about it because it's private property, but something should be done, whether it's a database to flag communities like that or something so that other people in my situation don't have to go through what I'm going through.
Okay, thank you, Julie.
Thanks.
Yeah, so our utilities director, Chris Browning, is here, and he can speak to you outside just to get a better understanding. You're right that if it's on a private line, it's an issue there. We're really limited on what we can do. We can talk to you about any other alternatives we might have.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Ronnie Kirk.
My name is Ronnie Kirk. My address is 2328 North Missouri. I want to talk to you a little about Michelin Tires and then our new convention center. Michelin Tires, well, anytime I get to speak with you, the Ford F-150 will have gone from a sheet of steel to a key-driven automobile right off the line. 3 of them built by the time I get to talking to you. Michelin sell tires. They wasn't keeping up with the automobile dealers were doing. Wasn't keeping at all. And by the time, they also make railroad tires out of rubber now. Michelin want to close the plant down. They want to not lay them off, but they need the firm where they can pay them unemployment insurance instead of giving them a temporary layoff while they build another plant in another country. They might, all the development going all around the city and the state, they'd like to be building a plant out here to come back and rename the plant and feel like they're going out of business. No, they're not going out of business. And about our new arena. We had a first shooting at Dale City High School where you seen 1,000 people running. Our police chief, they're doing so much to keep us safe. A week after that, 2 people got in there with a gun. They shot. Then you seen 5,000 people running at one time. A week after that, a lady tried to ram the nuclear power center, run through the gate first, but they deterred her. But she ran around to the back gate and tried to plow a truck through there. The only way it stopped her was those boys came up out the ground and stopped her.
30
You know, when a
seconds
person
remaining.
is heroin, methamphetamine, marijuana, taking gummy bears, they're already on medication. Then they're going to take these mind-altering drugs. They think they're king when they got a gun in their hand. They think they're unstoppable. Say, for instance, the new arena, you can hold 60,000 people. What if the man wanted to be one of the last 30 to come in? All he had, with them new guns they got, shoot 7 times before they stop shooting. If a man had,
Ronnie, we're over time.
okay, 4 clips in his pocket and his gun, a gun, it could shoot so many people before any shot them. All he do is hold a gun up over his head, and you couldn't even shoot him. He killed so many people.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Steve Hunt.
Steve Hunt, 6300 Westbrook. Of course, I'm here to talk about the arena and the decaying systems of power Mayor Holt is representing at great cost to a lot of people. There's a lot of nuance to this thing, and I've been working my butt off to try to help people understand what's going on. I was on Perry Radio on Friday talking about how the same people behind the arena are behind the most deadly jail in America. Clay Bennett, the founder of CJAC and the Chamber of Commerce, are running it, and I think it's a good thing to look at how the jail has gone to understand how the arena is going to go and how it's going to affect people and why we're doing it. I went ahead and got the FCC filings of the advertising. $132,000 worth of ads are going to be run on Channel 5. They're spending $32,000 for 8 spots during Wheel of Fortune. And it's worth noting that $7 million of hotel motel tax goes to the chamber, so those funds are being used for the propaganda they're using against us. One thing I want to point out is that Mayor Holt, Sith Lord Master Pat McFerrin is the one running the campaign. He's a Norman lobbyist with CMA Strategies. And I'd like to play what he said about me and David Holt on KGOU 15 years ago so you can understand who this man is.
Campaigns until the more, quote, legitimate news sources pick it up. But there's a real desire to do that. For example, one of the items I worked on was the tax to bring the Thunder to Oklahoma City. We had the mayor, we had a lot of legitimate people, a lot of people that had worked a long time. We had
Notice he said legitimate people, that citizens are not legitimate people, but a lobbyist from Norman is legitimate.
2 people that put up an internet video, and all of a sudden they're getting equal time on Channel 9. Even though they didn't have a skin in the game, they didn't even live in Oklahoma City.
He said we don't have a skin in the game, which is disgusting. And remember, he's a lobbyist from Norman that works with David Holt on a lot of things.
They were publicity seekers. One guy had crashed a Super Bowl before.
He mentions that I snuck in the Super Bowl. That's pretty stupid. I mean, not sneaking in, but mentioning that. What does that have to do with anything?
I mean, he was just doing it for the publicity, had no other reason there, and all of a sudden they're getting equal time with the guy who's been elected by the people of Oklahoma City to represent him. That's where it becomes a concern. And if it hadn't been for the internet and him putting that stuff forward, that wouldn't have happened. Well, the reality is
Okay, so this lobbyist from Norman, he's a testament to the money that's flowing out of Oklahoma City through this stuff. 73% of rentals right now are owned by outsiders as a
30
result
seconds remaining.
of the neoliberal greed that is happening right now. Were y'all able to hear that? Okay. It's more for the people out in Channel 20 Land and YouTube. And I wish I had more time. I'd like for people to know, people watching, I don't know if any of y'all care, but Thunder Arena Swindle Part 2 on YouTube. I have interviews with Neil DeMoss, the people behind the jail, my Supreme Court lawyer, Jay Barnett, who helped me when Mayor Holt changed the rules illegally to keep me off the chain.
We're over
the
time.
council. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank
Next
you.
speaker is Michael Washington.
My illustrious, esteemed horseshoe guest. And I say guest because I own what y'all up there representing today. Now then, we knew I wasn't going to play when I got up here, don't we? Let me do that jingle. I know I don't have much time, so I'm not going to try to rush into my topic of discussion this morning. But what I will do is allow y'all to grace my appearance while I stand here. Now then, we all are aware that this Oklahoma County House of Horror, County Detention Center, is talking about building a new facility that's going to be a huge and more successfully killing House of Horror. And you people sit back and rent your inmates out to those people, yet you disregard the flagrant and reckless death chamber that they've been exposed to. Well, I'm here to tell you about it. It's got to stop. The buck stops. We've heard about the relentless, purposeful killings, murders, disregards, not having access to medical procedures until a person's damn near dead. We've heard about people being starved to death and not being fed, but what have you done about it? Nothing. But to make money to house them people because you closed your city jail down. Ain't that something now? These are human beings, y'all. Let's understand this here. You are a city council. That means to represent your people in your districts and neighborhoods, not just somebody that's not locked up. That's right. If you have a constituent locked up in jail and they tell you something is wrong and you have a person like myself coming before you, you should investigate it. Why? Because they're still a part of the human process that's going on, right? They're still a human being, even if they get locked up, released, or whatever the case is. Come on now. This is what's important to Michael. You know, I'm not just talking or playing or having fun. Why? Because for 2 straight years, I was out in front of that county House of Horror. Oklahoma County Detention Center. For 2 straight years, not missing a month, missing a beat, 1 month coming, no, straight. In the cold, sleet, rain, summer.
30 seconds, please.
So I got a pile of complaints I want to bring to y'all. And I want y'all to listen to these people. I mean, I'm not just talking, I got pals. That's right, I haven't brought it to y'all yet. But you know, those people are on lease by you because the county would have no money. Just depending upon the county people that the county jails or the sheriff's arrest. So let us have fun, man. Let's get this thing straight. Thank y'all very much, and y'all have a wonderful day. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes citizens to be heard. We have 2 executive sessions previously approved regarding lawsuits. Then we have executive sessions on 3 items relative to reviews and salaries. Those could lead to votes after we return, and we will now retire to executive session. Okay, we are back from executive session, and we do have items remaining under Office of the Mayor. This is 3C1, 3D1, and 3E1. Across all three positions, the city manager, the municipal councilor, and the city auditor, we will be giving a salary adjustment that is equal to what AFSCME employees received earlier, which is 6.02% increase. We will now do an amendment to each of these resolutions and adoption of each of these resolutions. So I would ask the clerk to read the proposed amendment to item 3C1. This is the city manager.
Okay. The new annual salary will be based on 2,088 hours. Now therefore be it resolved by the mayor and council of the city of Oklahoma City that the annual salary of Craig Freeman, city manager of the city of Oklahoma City, shall be $305,453.52, which converts to an hourly salary of $146.29. Be it further resolved, the city manager shall receive an annual allowance of $7,000 payable monthly in lieu of automobile expenses incurred in the performance of his duties. And this shall be effective on
January 1st.
January 1st, 2023.
Is that amendment acceptable to everyone? Yes, okay, we did discuss the effective date, but that's what we've always done. Okay, so you've heard the proposed amendment. The first motion would be to adopt the amendment to the resolution found at C1. We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes 8-1. And now we're on the resolution as amended. And so this next motion would be to adopt item 3C1. 6 affirmative votes are required. I should say at least 6 affirmative votes. We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes 7-2. Now we're on item 3D1. This is a resolution establishing a new annual salary for the city auditor, Matt Weller. And I would ask the clerk to read the proposed amendment.
The new annual salary will be based on 2,088 hours annually. Now therefore be it resolved by the mayor and council of the city of Oklahoma City that the annual salary of Matt Weller, city auditor of the city of Oklahoma City, shall be $200,677.68, which converts to an hourly salary of $96.11. Be it further resolved, the city auditor shall receive an annual allowance of $7,000 payable monthly in lieu of automobile expenses incurred in the performance of his duties, to be effective on January 1st, 2023.
All right, 2024.
2024. Excuse me.
All right, thank you. Okay, you've heard the proposed amendment to item D1. We'll take a motion first for that. We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Amendment is adopted unanimously, and now we're on the resolution found at D1 as amended. We have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution, which requires at least 6 affirmative votes. Please cast your votes. Passes unanimously and with the at least 6 required affirmative votes. And finally, item 3E1, which is a resolution establishing a new annual salary for the municipal councilor, Kenneth Jordan. Clerk, please read the proposed amendment.
The new annual salary will be based on 2,088 hours annually. Now therefore be it resolved by the mayor and council of the city of Oklahoma City that the annual salary of Kenneth Jordan, municipal councilor of the city of Oklahoma City, shall be $245,966.40, which converts to an hourly salary of $117.80. Be it further resolved, the municipal councilor shall receive an annual allowance of $7,000 payable monthly in lieu of automobile expenses, to be effective on January 1st, 2024.
Thank you. You've heard the proposed amendment. We can now take a motion to amend the resolution found in E1. We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Now we're on the resolution found in E1 as amended. We have a motion and a second for adoption. Please cast your votes. At least 6 affirmative votes are required. Passes unanimously and with the at least 6 required affirmative votes. That concludes our business today, and we are at item 14, adjournment.